What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update as the clock ticks down on the international break as Tottenham is returning this weekend. But let's get into the update. And the first one is another update on the South American players. We brought to you yesterday saying that they could be available for selection. And the latest update is that they're going to fly back after the matches tonight, sleep at Spurs' training ground as part of the conditions to allow them to play. And Spurs are also checking if they must travel to the northeast this weekend separately to the rest of the squad to satisfy the COVID regulations.
Well, when it comes to the Argentinian players, as of today, I believe, the Argentina is now off the red list.
Okay.
So that means then that Romero and Lo Celso won't have to quarantine whatsoever, even at the Spurs Lodge.
Oh, that's great news.
Yeah. That's a good boost there. But when it comes to Romero, when it comes to Sanchez and Royale, it's different. They're still.
But have Argentina played any away games in red list countries though?
Not sure.
For Argentina, which is quite an important question because I don't know who have they played this.
But I think it's where they're coming from, isn't it? Or is it where?
No, because if they've been in a red list country,
then they still have to quarantine. They're playing Peru on Thursday. They've played Uruguay.
They played Paraguay away
and Paraguay,
and the other two games have been at home. So. Yeah, we just don't know if Uruguay.
Paraguay. No, I'm pretty sure I read. I think Dan Kilpatrick of the Evening Standard did a whole article.
Okay, fine.
And he said that it's because Argentina is no longer a red list country, they don't have to quarantine for 10 days.
Okay, so that's good. Great news. That's
great
news.
They're playing the latest game, so they still might not be available.
And they're the most likely to play as well.
Exactly. When it comes to Emerson and Sanchez, they obviously still need to quarantine in the Spurs Lodge, but they can still play. It just means they have to quarantine at the lodge, which is a bit of a pain for them because they're coming from red list countries.
Yeah.
But they might not exactly. Then they might not play for their country. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Friday morning, Thursday night. Who plays what game, kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll have to see tonight. We'll know tomorrow morning by our update who's played and what's happened. So we'll bring you an update on that tomorrow. But let's move on, as it's well documented that the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust offered the chance to Tottenham board to give them answers on their questions, seeing as they don't think the club, or nobody thinks really the club is going in the right direction at the moment. The club, the board rejected the chance to answer these questions, and the trust have released what questions they wanted to ask to the board today. So we thought we would go through them and give our take on them.
Yeah, so they decided to release the questions because they still believe that these questions need to be answered whether they want to meet with the Sports Trust or not. So they've kind of they put the ball in Spurs' court with these questions and whether they can be answered or not, seeing after Spurs decline the meeting. And let's start. So number one, there is a widespread feeling of a lack of direction of the club. Part of that question is, what is your vision for THFC? What are your objectives of how you're measuring progress against those objectives? And where do you want the club to be in 5 years on and off the pitch? I can tell you where they want to be off the pitch, that's for sure. Events coming every fortnight when there's an away game.
Yeah.
Money rolling in. In terms of on the pitch,
to be honest, they would probably prefer to rent out Wembley and let us play there, and they can host events there every weekend.
Exactly, they don't need us. But what is your vision for Tottenham THFC? I don't know if they have a vision for the football club in terms of that. I think they I don't think they want us to be around mid-table or bottom half. That obviously doesn't suit them. But honestly, I think around between 7th and their
vision is to see Tottenham in the Champions League on a shoestring budget.
Yeah,
that's the vision. Whether that vision is ever going to get realised,
or just European football as well, without spending a lot. Because if you're spending a lot of money to get into the Champions League, it can ultimately not be worth it in the end. If you are getting there, but you're spending too much money to get there, in one way you could actually get more money by spending a little and just getting Europa League than spending a lot and getting Champions League.
But after all what happened under Pochettino, not spending next to no money, getting to Champions League, that's their vision, isn't it? That's their vision.
Yeah. That's an interesting question, this one. What are your objectives and how are you measuring progress against those objectives? Yeah, I wonder what the Spurs will say is success this year. probably top 6 after missing out on top 6. They'll probably say.
I think most Spurs fans would kind of agree, saying, I don't think top 6 would be a success, but it would be a good season, kind of thing.
It'll be like par. That's what we expect. I wouldn't say good, par. That's what you expect, isn't it? Top 6.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And where do you want the club to be in 5 years' time on and off the pitch? I think, off the pitch, they want us to have a big naming rights deal. They want us to be a big global brand, all that kind of stuff. On the pitch, I just think they want us to be European regulars. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't think that's all they expect. I don't think they're expecting us to have trophies or anything like that by that time.
Completely agree.
Does the board think we've gone forward or backwards in a footballing context over the last 2 years? Oh, come on. That doesn't matter what the board think or what they don't think. Surely they should be obvious what's happened there.
But it is obvious, but it would be interesting to see what the Spurs board would say to that question, though. That's what the interesting thing would be. Everyone knows the actual answer.
Yeah, so I want to see how they justify it. Can you expand on Daniel Levy's comment on restoring the DNA of the club and provide examples of how that is being achieved? I would like to hear that.
Look, that one is a bit unfair because, Nuno's only been in the job for 6-7 games in the Premier League. It's very hard to imprint and instill, a way of football, playing a way of football in such a short space of time, especially the amount of surgery needed within the squad as well. So it's a bit unfair, that one, in my opinion.
Well, it's unfair, but also how it would be nice for him to explain how we are moving forward in that direction.
Yeah, I get that.
When he says all this grand stuff and there's no real evidence of it just yet. I know it's early, fair, but I would like to see him explain where we are going in that direction. You have said your focus has always been on achieving success on the pitch. Do you think that one trophy in 20 years is an acceptable outcome?
Yep.
That's a fair question.
It's a very fair question.
Very fair question.
But you know what he would say? He will say, no, it's not an acceptable outcome, and we'll strive to do better or something like that.
Or we have no right to win trophies or something like that. Are you aware that there's...
And then he'll go on to say that there's no correlation between spending money and success on the pitch.
Yeah, he'll definitely say that. Definitely say that. Are you aware that there is a widely held perception that football is not the priority at Tottenham THFC? And what would you say to supporters who feel that way? Well, we know it's just not number one priority. I think Pochettino admitted that in terms of the football on the pitch. It's not the priority. The priority is off the pitch first. And I think to some extent you always have to keep off the pitch stuff into account.
Mourinho alluded to it as well, didn't he? At some point.
Other priorities, exactly. And that's what Pochettino said. He said plainly, Pochettino, our goal, the goal for Tottenham right now is not to win trophies or win leagues. That's not my goal, my aim, what I've been tasked with from the club is to get Champions League football and bring us into a new era, into the new stadium. It was nothing to do with on the pitch success, and we know that at the moment it's not a priority. That's just a given, honestly.
Yeah.
We know that for a fact. It would reassure supporters if you could provide a clear explanation of where profits earned from non-football events at the stadium go. I would definitely like to see that.
I would like to see that, but he said every single penny of profits will be put back into the team. That's what Daniel Levy said.
Right. All 7 million of his bonuses.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, can you give an update on the stadium rights issue? Yeah, I would like to know where we're at with that one. I just heard today that HSBC, apparently Spurs before lockdown had a deal with HSBC fall through because of lockdown. So that would have been interesting. But I would like to see, because apparently they're just biding their time to get the best deal, and they're not going to jump in with 2 feet with any deal.
Saying that for 2 years.
Yep, but I guess they're just waiting and waiting until the right deal comes. They want to probably get the most expensive one, but you got to think about it as well with all the the boxing events, NFL, with the concerts. Surely it should be very valuable, the naming rights for that.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. But look, it is very valuable. But if you keep shopping around and not getting a deal, then it's going to be to the detriment of the club, isn't it?
Well, unless the right deal comes along.
Yeah,
it has to come along at some point.
You would think so, but but why not? But why not do a shorter term deal at the start then, just to whet people's appetites and stuff like that?
He was probably regretting not doing a shorter term deal before, because now in the situation it's been 2 years. Could you give a clear explanation of the relationship between different parts of the business and how resources are used across them? Okay, that's a fair question. How does the club ensure that its property development arm does not act as a drain on resources and management focus? What is the club's involvement in property development undertaken by related parties? And how does the club ensure that assets disposals to related parties are undertaken at fair market value?
Well, look, ultimately, is that all the questions, yeah?
No.
Oh, go on, keep going.
Supporters made their opposition to the proposed European Super League clear. Can you give a guarantee that the club won't support any attempt to revive that or a similar project?
What they'll say to that is that we don't speak about hypothetical situations.
Yeah, cool, exactly. They'll say that, oh, we just didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. We signed it away, but we had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know what came over us when we signed that contract. Have the fines and costs incurred by the club's involvement in the ECL been paid from personal finances of the owners or directors or from the club's funds? They said there was going to be personal, but I guess...
What's that? Funds from the ECL?
The fines, yeah.
But they said there was no fines in the end, weren't there?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the deal is with that. I think they took the fines away.
That's what I'm saying. It came out last week, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Can you elaborate on what happened to your plans for the club's advisory panel and fan director on the board? Announced in April, we submitted plans for a supervisory board, INEDs, and executive, non-executive director, and a fan director in a two-tier board structure that would embed football and fans at the heart of the club. We discussed those plans and seek an agreed outcome which is supported by fans. Yep, it's all gone very quiet on that, to be fair.
Very
on that
quiet.
Fan board, all that kind of fan representation.
A deafening silence, I would say.
Haven't heard a peep since April. They made this whole announcement and then nothing. We also asked the board to examine creating a share ownership structure that could broaden ownership of the club and could potentially provide an injection of cash. Could you update on how this is progressing? That's it. That's all the questions.
I mean, there's a lot of these questions where we kind of know the answer to, but it would be very interesting to see what they would say to that and pick at what they say, to be honest, because you know what they would say would just be nothing to what we want to hear.
I want to hear a lot of the answers to those questions, yeah, for
you know
sure.
what I mean? Or even if it is what we want to hear, that's only going to be because it's sugar-coated, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's what do you make out of them completely rejecting, not coming to the table here?
I guess it's a response to the trust rejecting Tottenham's meeting in the summer. Although they did end up meeting in the end, didn't they? But
I think so, yeah.
That was later. But I think maybe they think it's unfair that because maybe from Tottenham, the boardroom point of view, they're thinking that. That the trust have only done this in a response to some bad form from Tottenham in the league, where it looked like we're not going anywhere and Nuno was in trouble and all that kind of stuff. And maybe they're thinking, look, I don't think it's fair. You do this, call this meeting 7 games into a season where it's only a batch of bad form. Maybe let it play out a bit before calling this meeting. But I think a lot of that is not all football related, and I think a lot of it is fair questions. And I think the Spurs board should meet with them to answer them and give fans some context, perspective, and answers behind some of these very important questions. Yeah,
I completely agree. Nothing more to say on it, but I want to hear your opinions on the matter as well. Put it in the comments section below. But let's move on. There's been a couple of updates from a publication called Defensa Central, which is a publication out in Spain. I'm not sure how reliable. Do you know about Defensa Central? To be honest, with these updates,
so I think it's a Real Madrid publication.
Yeah, it is. So, I mean, they're both about Real Madrid. So on this, I don't think they're too reliable, but let's read through them anyway. The first one is Real Madrid have reignited their interest in Harry Kane. They will move for him should they fail to sign Mbappe or Haaland in the summer. But
Mbappe's going there on a free.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Mbappe is pretty much nailed on going there in the summer, isn't he? Pretty much.
Looks like. I mean, he admitted, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mbappe wanted to leave PSG, so and also Kane now is going to cost so much money. It doesn't make sense for Madrid to spend over 100 million on him when he's going to be 29. I think the days of Madrid, like we've seen how much financial trouble the Spanish giants have been in over the past few months. So I think the days of, Griezmann for 100 million when he's 28 to Barcelona, that kind of stuff, it just doesn't make financial sense. And hopefully they'll learn their lesson. If they do that, it would have shown they're not learning their lesson.
Do you think that if it's a case of them getting kind of, the players like Hazard and Bale off the contract, role and all that kind of stuff could free up quite a bit of money for them?
Yeah, but still don't think they're going to go for younger players now. I think they've surely seen now with spending money on players who, although they're at a good age in their career, from a footballing perspective, it doesn't make financial sense to spend 100 million on a 29-year-old. It just doesn't.
And in terms of Harry Kane, I mean, do you think we even get 100 million for him this summer?
Depends how the season goes.
Yeah, I mean, let's say he has an okay season, 15 goals, something like that. Do you think we get 100 million for him?
I think we could. Look, it all depends on how he's playing and if he stays injury-free and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think if he has a good season and stays injury-free, I think you could get 100 million.
All right, let's move on again from the same publication, and this one saying Real Madrid are keeping tabs on Tottenham's Bryan Gil with a view to a potential move in the future. I mean,
of course they are. The special relationship strikes again.
But the thing is, if this guy does have a good few seasons for us now and really establishes himself at Tottenham Hotspur, this is probably one that will come around, isn't it?
Probably. They definitely will come, considering his age as well. So, I mean, there's nothing we have to be too worried about anytime soon. Madrid want him. That's just the price of success. When your players are doing well, the big clubs want them. And that's just the reality. So it's nothing to be worried about. But I'm hoping, obviously he just got called up for Spain. He's just been playing for them. So hopefully he's got a real bright future. He's shown flashes in his early career. So I'm excited by big clubs wanting him, not scared by it.
All right, let's move on to the Mail. And this is a story we brought you yesterday as well, saying Daniel Levy was trying to do everything in his power to stop this takeover going through, even though it had gone through. But the Mail are saying Spurs, Man United and Everton were the most angry with Newcastle's takeover during a Premier League emergency meeting. And that makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, exactly. Who they're most threatened by.
Yeah.
Those three clubs, probably.
Exactly.
Maybe it just goes to show that Arsenal weren't furious. Yeah, whatever. Just another club passing by.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
look, it makes complete sense, those clubs, because those clubs probably, first of all, Man United, they shouldn't feel that threatened. They're a much bigger club. But when it comes to Spurs and Everton, who have ambitions of being in that top 6 or top 4, another club muscling their way in with the big funds, obviously they're not going to be happy about it, are they? But you've got
to look at the way Man United, I mean, since their dominance in the 90s and 2000s, right, since this money has come in, they've seen so much less success. So they have to feel threatened. Look at how Man City had overtaken them. Look how Chelsea have overtaken them over the years. You know what I mean? So of course they're going to feel threatened.
Yeah, they finished second last year. You know what I mean?
They did, but they still haven't won the league since Fergie left.
They got Ronaldo, they got Sancho,
but they haven't won the league since Fergie left.
Look at the squad they have. Look at the players they have, and where they finished. They shouldn't feel threatened by a Newcastle. If the other teams I don't think they should either. But they've got one of the best teams in the league.
They do have one of the best teams in the league, but they've gone from being in the title race, more or less being favourites for the title every year, to having so many more competitors now, where they haven't won the league since Fergie has been there.
Yeah, but that they shouldn't be so insecure with the team they have. I understand if they didn't have a good team, but they have an amazing team. So
for me, it's such an easy fix at Man United. It's such an easy fix.
Just get rid of Oli.
Not even just get rid of Oli. Just bring in Conte. Bring in Conte. I promise you, they'll be fighting at the top 2 for sure.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. They're that good.
Yeah,
that team. That team should easily be challenging for the league. Definitely.
All right, let's move on with the international roundup. The first game we're going to talk about is Iran 1, South Korea 1. Heung-min Son getting on the score sheet with a lovely goal as well. I'm not too sure what the keeper was doing, really.
Yeah,
did you see it?
Very FIFA-esque.
Yeah, it was.
Flying out of his goal for no reason.
But yeah, left a nice easy finish for Sonny with that keeper rushing out. But Sonny on the score sheet twice in this international break so far. Ireland beat Qatar 4-0 in a friendly. Matt Doherty playing only the first half, so getting much rest for the weekend.
No, apparently got injured.
Oh, he got injured, did he?
Yeah, he got injured.
Oh.
That's what I read.
Unfortunate for him.
Apparently it was not a great one. I don't know how long he's out, but I heard he's not going to be playing this weekend now.
All right, and
If
Troy
he
Parrott
was anyway.
Yeah, Troy Parrott coming on for the final 13 minutes for Callum Robinson, who scored a hat-trick on the day. So Parrott getting minutes. Doherty, unfortunately, going off injured. First time hearing of it now. But let's move on as Denmark beat Austria 1-0 with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg playing 90 minutes as well. And there's a lovely picture doing the rounds on social media with him and his mum the side of the pitch after the game.
That's lovely. And they've been going great, Denmark.
They really have. I
Ever
think they've
since
won
Euros.
every single game in this qualifiers and haven't let in a goal yet.
No goals conceded and 27 goals scored.
Yeah.
8 wins out of 8. That's serious business there with Denmark. And they got a good team. They showed that in the
Ericsson
Euros.
as well, all that.
Yeah, very good stuff.
And last but not least, England won, Hungary won. Harry Kane playing 76 minutes, getting hauled off at 1-1, which is interesting because you wouldn't see that happen for Spurs. Rarely see that happen for England. He did have a pretty poor display, didn't he?
He did, although he did set up the best chance of the game.
He did,
for Sterling. That was
Yeah.
a great ball. But yeah, you're right. He didn't have a great game. I think the whole of England, the England team, Grealish went off after an hour.
Yeah.
Mason Mount was completely anonymous, I thought.
I thought Grealish was actually the one trying to impact things.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird
decision. I don't know why
decision.
they took him off.
I thought it was a weird decision to take him off. They did take him off after an hour. England had, I think in general, were very subdued, but Kane was definitely a part of that. And I thought he was probably rightly taken off for the last 15 minutes, but England didn't look any better with him off. So.
No. Because Tammy Abraham came off and he went off 10 minutes later.
Yeah, true, and Ollie Watkins came on. So, look, it wasn't a great night for Kane or for England, but look, a draw is a draw, and we're going to qualify, I think. We're 6 points clear of third place.
Yeah, but second place goes to the playoffs.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're still 5 points clear of.
No, we're 3 points clear of second.
With 2 games left, so we'll be all right.
Hopefully. I mean, our last game is San Marino, so you would say that's a given.
We'll be fine. And who's our next game?
Next game, I believe, is Albania. I think it is.
Okay, so that's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big game. But anyway, we'll see. We should definitely
we'll
qualify.
England will be all right. But England will qualify.
A win yesterday would have sealed things off pretty much.
So a draw against Albania and we're through.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. We've got a few quotes here on Harry Kane from a few of the pundits that I'm going to read out. First one from Ian Wright. And he said, he's not quite at it. He started the season slowly, sluggish and not sharpish. Harry Kane himself was saying in his post-match interview, they were quizzing him on his tough start to the season so far and him being off form. And he says, I'm in a good place. I know there's been a lot of talk about me, but at the end of the day, I've still scored 9 goals this season. What'd you make out of that?
What was that 6 in the Conference League and 3 for England, is it?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes? Yeah, look, I think he needs to sharpen up. But I think I would like him to be a bit more self-critical of himself and to feel okay with just banging goals in Conference League.
Just before he said that, he did say, I'm my own worst critic, but it doesn't
Yeah, I know he is. We know he is. So look, he has got 9 goals, so whether they are in the Conference League or for England goals, that's not easy to come by all the time, so that's fair enough. But yeah, I want him. Obviously, we need him to start banging the goals in Premier League, don't we? 7 games without a goal, or 6 games. He didn't play the first one, so we need him to start upping his game. I don't think he's in danger of getting dropped just yet, but I think 9 goals is definitely misleading. You know, Aubameyang can say he's got 6 goals with a hat trick against West Brom reserves.
Yeah.
And this really looks different, doesn't it? So
exactly,
is what it is.
Roy Keane says for England, it's not a problem. He's had problems at club level, and the team aren't great currently, Tottenham. But I can't believe we're going to be standing here doubting Harry Kane.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time the guy gets doubted, he hits back, and I'm sure it'll happen again every single time. I think people need to learn their lesson, don't they? Surely, about doubting Harry Kane. It comes a point where every time. I remember leading up to the Euros, they will say, "Oh, we better without Harry
during
Kane."
the Euros.
Yeah, well, we should drop Harry Kane. I
because the group stages, he was poor, really, wasn't he? The team, and everyone was saying in the group stages to drop him.
Yeah, just every time, every step of the way, people doubt him. But I remember Merson said he won't be able to play under Mourinho. Every step of the way, people are doubting him.
Yeah.
But
who takes notice of what Merson says anyway?
Just saying, but it's just, surely people will. Roy Keane's absolutely right. We can't keep doubting him again. Surely you've just got to support him, and he'll come good again.
And the last one I'm going to read out is from Trevor Sinclair, who was on TalkSport this morning, saying, Kane is reflecting a player who is not happy at his club. He's not got the move he wanted. He's struggling to deal with it. Kane wants to win things, and I can't see that happening at Tottenham.
Yeah, there's probably some truth to that at the moment, but he's just got to come out of it. Maybe he's not playing that well at the moment. You have to admit that, but it doesn't mean he can't turn it around. It's still so early on. Doesn't mean he can't turn it around. And I'm sure once he starts getting a couple of goals in the Premier League, I'm sure he'll come flying back again. I'm certain of it.
And the last thing I want to talk about is in the game, the vile scenes from the Hungarian fans.
Yeah. Yeah, there was vile scenes, and then there was also the police went in heavy-handed, didn't they?
Yeah, the police went in heavy-handed and then came out second best, didn't they?
Yeah, Hungarians are up for the fight.
I mean, every single Hungary game, it seems as though there's something goes on right at the moment. I mean, there's been calls of them to be dropped out of international tournaments and stuff like that. I can't really be seeing that as a fix, really. I mean, how can the whole nation suffer because of these idiots? It's a bit unfair for me. I mean, for me, what needs to happen is they need to have a ban on Hungarian fans until it's better, really.
Well, yeah, exactly, a stadium ban. They've done it before behind closed doors. I don't understand why they don't do that. So because I think the police went in because there was a few Hungary fans saying something racially aggravated, they said.
To one of the stewards, yeah.
To one of the stewards. Then they went in trying to get him out, and then the Hungary fans fought back and ended up forcing the police to retreat. And I don't know what happened to that Hungary fan. I'm assuming he got off, but there was pretty horrible scenes in the end watching it. And we don't want to see that at all in the game, especially in the stadium.
Yeah, completely agree. These things really need to be stamped out as soon as possible. And FIFA and UEFA need to take a long, hard look at what's going on with these Hungarian fans at the moment, because it's just not right. It's just not right, and things need to change quickly. And me personally, I think they need to be given a ban, a stadium ban, these Hungarian fans, until I don't know for how long for, or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, a year ban or something like that, and see what happens when they get back. But it's just not on, and things need to change ASAP. But I want to know your thoughts on everything we've spoken about today in the comment section below. That is your Tottenham update. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.